Hey there, friends. Strap in, 'cause I've got a tale that'll make your jaw drop. We've all been through those moments when our gut tells us something's off and curiosity gets the best of us. Well, this is one of those stories, but trust me, it's a roller coaster of emotions. So, there's me, living a seemingly happy life with my hubby, Daniel. We had been married for 5 years, and everything felt peachy until it didn't. You see, Daniel had been working a high-stress job at some fancy corporate office. He'd often come home late, worn out, and claimed it was the workload. I thought it was the classic workaholic spiel, and I was understanding. I mean, love and support, right? One evening, though, something changed. I was looking for my lost phone, and what do I find? A stack of letters tucked away in the back of his desk drawer, each addressed to him from a mysterious sender with no return address. They looked old, and their edges were frayed, as if someone had read them over and over again. Naturally, I started wondering, who is this secret pen pal of my husband's? Why are these letters hidden away? And the biggest question of all, why hadn't he mentioned them to me? I couldn't resist the urge to open one of the letters. Call me nosy, but these secrets were gnawing at my sanity. So I delicately slid a letter from its envelope and began to read, my heart pounding. The letter was from a woman named Lily, and she poured her heart out about missing Daniel terribly. She mentioned memories they had shared, moments of passion, and their dreams of a future together. It was a love letter, no doubt. But wait, it got worse. Lily signed off as your forever love. My stomach did somersaults. Your forever love? What kind of melodramatic nonsense was this? And why did it sound so personal? I thought of Daniel, who was in the next room, probably wrapping up another late night at the office. My mind raced with questions, and as I read more letters, the reality began to sink in. What the heck was my husband hiding? And how long had he been hiding it? It was time to put on my detective hat and get to the bottom of this mess. All right, folks, thanks for sticking around. When we last left off, I had discovered those mysterious letters tucked away in Daniel's desk. Now, I'm about to dive deeper into this web of secrets and lies. Buckle up. The letters from Lily shook me to my core, but I needed more concrete evidence. So, what's a determined wife to do? Well, I knew I had to confront Daniel, but I had to be smart about it. After all, this was a man who'd managed to hide these letters for who knows how long. The next day, I decided to drop a little hint. I casually mentioned to him that I had found some old love letters from an ex-boyfriend while cleaning the attic. I watched his reaction like a hawk, but all I got was an awkward chuckle and a dismissive, "Oh, really? You should throw them away." It wasn't the reaction I had hoped for, but it was something. I knew I needed to dig deeper. So I embarked on my little mission, which included late-night snooping, phone checking, I know, but desperate times, and even following him a couple of times. One evening, he said he had to go to the office for an emergency. Red flags waving, right? So guess what? I decided to tail him, just like in those cheesy spy movies. I parked my car a few blocks away from his office building and watched as he entered the seemingly empty office. My heart pounding, I waited for a while, then stealthily made my way to the building. I used my best ninja moves to sneak in, and lo and behold, I heard hushed voices coming from his office. Sneaking closer, I peeked through the frosted glass window and saw him, Daniel, talking to a woman, the mysterious Lily herself. My heart felt like it was going to leap out of my chest. They were too engrossed in their conversation to notice me. I couldn't hear everything, but their body language said it all. It was intimate, and my blood boiled. I snapped a quick picture with my phone as evidence, my hands trembling like crazy. I had proof now, but I needed to play this smart. I slinked away from the scene, my mind racing. Revenge was coming, but it had to be perfect. I spent the next few days gathering more information, and what I uncovered was mind-boggling. It seemed like Daniel and Lily had been involved for years, even before we got married. My world shattered as I realized the extent of his betrayal. But here's the twist, friends. I wasn't about to let this betrayal break me. Nope, I had a plan, and it was deliciously wicked. Okay, the plot was thickening, and it was time for yours truly to unleash Operation Sabotage. Revenge was a dish best served cold, right? First, I needed to gather more information about Lily, the mysterious woman who had been tearing my world apart. I did some online sleuthing. Thank you, internet, and found out she worked at a nearby marketing agency. Armed with this knowledge, I made a cunning plan. I dressed up like a corporate spy, complete with oversized sunglasses and a trench coat. Yes, I went full-on undercover mode. I strolled into her office building and did my best impression of a lost tourist, asking the receptionist for directions to her office. With her help, I made it to Lily's floor, where her colleagues thought I was some new big-shot client. I finally spotted her office, discreetly checked her nameplate, and snapped a quick picture. Score. I had her full name now, Lily Walker. Armed with this newfound knowledge, I retreated from the scene, feeling like James Bond's long-lost cousin. Next stop, social media. I stalked her profiles like it was my job, and guess what I found? Her upcoming high school reunion. I concocted a brilliant plan. I created a fake Facebook profile, pretending to be a fellow high school alumnus, and requested to join the reunion group. I spent hours crafting my backstory and building my character. I even photoshopped a vintage yearbook photo to match the others. Nailed it. Once inside the group, I started planting seeds of doubt. I posted cryptic messages about how some people never change and dropped hints about secrets from the past. The buzz started growing, and people began whispering about old scandals. But I wasn't done yet. I messaged Lily privately, pretending to be a concerned classmate who had heard rumors about her affair with a married man. Oh boy, she took the bait. She replied, all flustered and defensive, denying everything. But her reaction told me everything I needed to know. I knew I had her right where I wanted her, panicked and paranoid. My plan was working like a charm, and I couldn't help but feel a twinge of satisfaction. But revenge is a dish best served with a side of patience, my friends. I was just getting started. So, Lily was starting to feel the heat. She was on edge, constantly glancing over her shoulder at the reunion, wondering who was stirring the pot. Her perfect little world was unraveling, and I was here for every delicious moment. The reunion was just around the corner, and I knew I had to turn up the heat. I reached out to some of my real high school friends and filled them in on my plan. They were all too eager to help bring Lily down a notch, considering what she'd done to me. We decided to create a fake, scandalous story about Lily and an anonymous, well-known figure, adding just enough details to make it believable. We crafted a narrative that would send shockwaves through the reunion. Lily was about to become the talk of the town. I posed as an anonymous tipster and sent this juicy piece of gossip to a local gossip blog. You know the type, always hungry for the next big scoop. The story spread like wildfire, and before long, everyone in our hometown was buzzing about it. The reunion arrived, and the tension was palpable. People were whispering, exchanging knowing glances, and Lily was clearly rattled. She tried to put on a brave face, but I could see the cracks in her composure. Revenge had never tasted so sweet. As the night wore on, the fake story continued to circulate. People approached Lily, asking her about the scandalous affair. She vehemently denied it, of course, but doubt had already taken root in people's minds. Her reputation was in shambles, and I couldn't help but relish in her misery. But I wasn't finished. I had one more ace up my sleeve. I knew Lily's weakness, her vanity. She prided herself on her appearance and reputation, and I was about to exploit that. I arranged for a friend to accidentally spill a glass of red wine on her pristine white dress. The gasps and whispers that followed were music to my ears. Lily was mortified, her face a mask of humiliation. With my plan in full swing, I retreated from the chaos I'd created, satisfied that my revenge was hitting its mark. But there was still more to come, dear friends. As the reunion unfolded, the tension was electric. Lily was caught in a web of deceit, and I was the puppeteer pulling the strings. But there was one finale act left to stage. I watched from the shadows as Lily struggled to salvage her reputation. The scandalous affair story had spread like wildfire, and no amount of denial could extinguish the flames. She was cornered, desperate, and on the verge of unraveling completely. Then came my pièce de résistance. I had convinced my friend, Sarah, to approach Lily with a proposition, an opportunity to clear her name. Sarah posed as a well-connected figure in town, offering to help Lily expose the anonymous tipster behind the scandal. It was an offer too tempting for Lily to resist. The plan was simple, yet brilliant. We would lure Lily into a trap of her own making. Sarah promised to meet Lily in a secluded part of the reunion venue, away from prying eyes. Lily, desperate for redemption, took the bait. As they met in the dimly lit corner, I watched from a distance, my heart pounding with anticipation. Sarah, with a sly grin, told Lily that she had uncovered the identity of the tipster. Lily leaned in, eager to hear the name, her face a mixture of hope and dread. And then the bombshell dropped. "It's Karen," Sarah said with a wicked smile. "Your little sister." Lily's eyes widened in shock, and she stumbled back as if struck by lightning. Her world came crashing down around her, and she realized the depths of her own downfall. She had been played like a fiddle, and I reveled in the sweet taste of victory. But that wasn't the end of it. As Lily tried to process the revelation, I stepped out of the shadows, finally revealing myself. The look on her face was a priceless blend of horror and realization. "You!" she stammered, her voice trembling. "It was you all along?" I nodded, relishing the moment. "Surprised, Lily? You underestimated me, just like you always did. But it's time you faced the consequences of your actions." The reunion attendees, drawn by the commotion, gathered around, witnessing the unmasking of the devious mastermind behind the scandal. Lily's humiliation was complete. As the truth sunk in, Lily was left humbled and defeated. Her carefully constructed world had crumbled, and there was no escaping the consequences of her deceit. Revenge had been served, and it was a dish best served cold. So, dear friends, that's the climax of my story. The moment when Lily's reign of terror came crashing down, but there's still an epilogue left to tell. After the dramatic unmasking at our high school reunion, I watched Lily's life spiral into chaos. The fallout was intense, to say the least. Friends distanced themselves from her, and her reputation lay in tatters. Her affair with my ex-husband was now public knowledge, and the scandal became the talk of the town. But this wasn't just about exposing her secrets. It was about teaching her a lesson. Lily had underestimated me for far too long, and it was time she learned that her actions had consequences. Lily's marriage to my ex, Daniel, crumbled under the weight of the affair. He couldn't bear the shame and guilt, and their relationship imploded. He moved out of town, leaving Lily alone to deal with the wreckage of her life. Meanwhile, I had found unexpected solace in my newfound friendships at the reunion. People who had once been mere acquaintances became my confidants. We laughed together, reminisced about old times, and bonded over shared experiences. I realized that I wasn't alone in this journey. I had a support system that cared about me. As for Daniel, well, he had learned a harsh lesson about the consequences of his actions. His relationship with Lily had fallen apart, and he was left to pick up the pieces of his own life. He tried to reach out to me, but I had no interest in rekindling our past. My focus was on healing and moving forward. In the midst of all this chaos, I received an unexpected message from an unlikely source. My sister, Susan. She had witnessed the unraveling of Lily's life and reached out to me, seeking forgiveness and reconciliation. She had seen the error of her ways and wanted to make amends. Susan, always the more emotionally expressive of the two, rebelled against the injustice of it all. She channeled her grief and anger into defiance, often pushing boundaries and challenging authority figures. I, on the other hand, internalized my pain, choosing to retreat into the comforting embrace of solitude and silence. Our coping mechanisms diverged, and the gap between us grew wider. As we entered our teenage years, our paths seemed to diverge even further. Susan's rebellious streak intensified, leading to strained relationships with our grandparents. She started dyeing her hair vibrant shades, hanging out with what our grandparents deemed the wrong crowd, and engaging in minor delinquencies that left them exasperated. I, however, took the opposite route, seeking solace in academics and extracurricular activities. I aimed for excellence in everything I pursued, driven by the desire to make our parents proud, even if they could no longer witness my achievements. The strain between us peaked when Susan dropped out of high school, a decision that caused a rift between her and our grandparents. While she asserted her newfound independence, I continued to pursue my studies diligently, determined to secure a brighter future for myself. When Susan left home, the divide between us felt insurmountable. We became estranged, communicating only through sporadic and terse messages. Our family bonds weakened, and it seemed like Susan had embarked on a path of self-destruction while I sought stability and fulfillment. Part of me was wary, remembering the years of hurt she had caused, but another part saw the opportunity for healing and redemption. We met cautiously, and Susan poured out her remorse and regret. It was a heartfelt conversation, one that allowed us to bridge the chasm that had separated us for so long. I learned that Susan had faced her own share of struggles and hardships in the wake of our estrangement. She had hit rock bottom, but it had been the catalyst for her transformation. She had turned her life around, found stability, and wanted a chance to rebuild our sisterly bond. It wasn't an easy decision, but I chose to forgive her. I realized that holding on to anger and resentment wouldn't bring me peace. Instead, I embraced the opportunity to mend our relationship, and it was a choice that brought unexpected joy. So, friends, that's where we stand today. Lily's empire had crumbled, Daniel had faced his reckoning, and my sister and I had embarked on a journey of reconciliation. Revenge had led to redemption, and I had found strength in forgiveness. In the aftermath of the high school reunion and the chaos that ensued, I found myself reflecting on the journey that had led me here. My quest for revenge had uncovered secrets, shattered illusions, and exposed the true nature of those around me. But more importantly, it had transformed me. I had always been the quiet, reserved one, the peacemaker, if you will. But life had a way of teaching me that sometimes you need to fight for yourself, to stand up against those who seek to hurt you. My journey had been a crash course in resilience and self-discovery. Lily, once the queen bee of our high school, had lost her crown and found herself isolated. She faced the consequences of her actions and the judgment of those she had wronged. It was a humbling experience for her, and while I didn't revel in her suffering, I couldn't deny that a sense of justice had been served. As for Daniel, he had learned that taking shortcuts and betraying trust would only lead to his downfall. His reckless pursuit of his desires had cost him dearly, and he was left to rebuild his life from the ruins of his mistakes. My sister Susan's transformation was perhaps the most unexpected turn of events. Her journey from a troubled past to seeking redemption had touched my heart. We had rebuilt our sisterly bond, and while it wasn't without its challenges, forgiveness had allowed us to heal and move forward together. I also found solace in the friends I had reconnected with at the reunion. They had been my pillars of support during these tumultuous times, and I was grateful for their presence in my life. We shared laughter, tears, and stories of our shared past, reminding me that I was never truly alone. So, what did I learn from this whirlwind of events? Revenge may have been my initial motivation, but it had ultimately led me to a different destination, one of self-discovery and growth. I had rediscovered my strength and resilience, and I had learned the power of forgiveness and redemption. Life had a way of teaching us lessons, often in unexpected ways. It had shown me that we all make mistakes, but it's how we choose to respond and grow from them that defines us. Revenge may have been a fleeting desire, but redemption and forgiveness were the true keys to finding peace and happiness. As I stand here today, surrounded by the love of those who truly care about me, I can't help but feel grateful for this incredible journey. The scars of the past have healed, and I look forward to what the future holds. Thank you, friends, for joining me on this roller coaster of a story. It's been an honor sharing this tale with you. Remember, life's challenges may test us, but our choices and resilience can lead us to unexpected places. Embrace the journey, and may your path be one of redemption and happiness.